Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Deja Vu Survival where we look at an old world with new eyes. My name is Glitch. Today we're going to get set up to look at the basic mechanics of enchanting. Now simply put, enchanting is adding attributes to your tools, weapons, and armor to make them either more durable or to increase how effective they are. And though it is possible to find enchanted gear in chest loot or by slaying mobs that are wearing them, the majority of the enchanted gear you get in game will come from you doing the actual enchanting. So we ended last episode with the 2 diamonds and 4 obsidian we need to make an enchanting table. Since then, I have been on the grind for the rest of what we need. Mostly it was a matter of getting the leather and paper we need to make the books and bookshelves. The paper was no problem. We have our sugarcane field outside, and I also set up a auto farm in here so that I could continue to gather resources even while I was doing other things. I won't go into the mechanics right now for the farm, but it runs on minimal redstone and uses a torch burnout clock as a bud switch, as you just watched. It's not the most efficient farm, but with no observers or comparators, it still gets the job done. And yes, I know that it is possible to get nether quartz from master level stone basin villagers, but that would still involve a lot of grind work. So, if you're interested, I made a tutorial on how this works, and there will be a link in the description below for you to check out if you want to see how the farm works and want to use it in your survival world. Now, I could have used a cow crusher for the leather, but I decided to go out and do a little bit of hunting and also breed up the cattle we have. Because to make the amount of books we need for an enchanting setup, you need 1 book for the table itself, and 3 for each of the 15 bookshelves you need to max out your enchanting levels. You'll also need 6 planks of any kind for the bookshelves. In terms of raw materials then, that's 46 leather, 135 paper, which is just a little over 2 full stacks, and also about 90 planks. I have all those materials in a chest upstairs, so let's go ahead and head upstairs and get started. Another thing that I did between episodes was to do a little bit of renovations to the Clef 2.0. Primarily, I mined out a room so we can have a place for the enchanting. At the moment, the cartography table is representing where the table is going to be, and the smoothstone blocks are representing where our bookshelves need to be placed. But let's go ahead and grab our materials. And go to the crafting table. All right, first off, we need to get our books. Let's go ahead and start out. Grab our enchanting table. And also, let's make our bookshelves. Okay, 15, and I'm going to make 2 extra books because the way the layout of the bookshelves winds up working, you have an extra space, which just visually it bugs me. So I will always craft up an extra one just to make it line up. But now, grab an X. Let's start out by moving our cartography table. And, you know, we'll just chuck that here in the chest for now. Okay. So when you place your enchanting table, though it is made out of obsidian, it is not as hard as obsidian. So you can move it pretty much at will. But once you place it down, boing! it will have that fun little animation where anytime you get closer to it, the book will kind of rotate, and then whenever you come closer, it'll open up. But when you click on the enchantment table, you get this user interface. This slot is for the item you want to enchant, and then you have 3 buttons that will appear when you put an item in there. For example, let's just take our diamond pickaxe and put. You'll see that we have these different options that are there for the enchantments that are available. You may also notice these numbers on the side. This is the level of the enchantments. Now, right now, they are relatively low, but if you place in the bookshelves, that level will go up. We'll get into that in a second. The last slot you see is for a piece of lapis lazuli, which is the last material item that you need. Enchanting will cost you up to 3 pieces of lapis per enchantment. Now, the reason that I said that lapis is the last material thing you will need is that all enchanting takes experience level. That's represented by the small green bar you see at the bottom of your HUD between your hotbar and your health and hunger. The green number represents the level you are currently at, and there are a variety of ways to get it experience, such as cooking food, smelting ore, slaying mobs, of any kind. Or if you're me, you can do a lot of fishing. While some people find this method boring, I tend to do it because my base is on a river. It also helps that I can build up a reserve of food and also level up at the same time. In fact, I actually started out playing Minecraft on Pocket Edition on my iPhone. And there were a lot of times that I would spend my breaks at work just grinding up levels for different enchantments that I wanted. And though you do get some junk, you can also get a few treasures and some decent enchanted books. But this will help you this, at least for me, gives you a chance to get some of that XP and build up levels pretty quickly. Actually, before we get into enchanting, I just thought of one other form of XP that you can get that is a little more rare, but we happen to have at hand. Back when we did our episode on treasure hunting and buried treasure, I recall, oops, wrong chest. I recall that we got a couple of bottles o' enchanting out of buried treasure. They're a somewhat rare item in the game, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how one of them works. I'm going to save one. Down the road, I'd love to do a treasure vault. But the way a bottle of enchanting works is it's, in essence, XP in a bottle. And the way they work, you can get these from, I believe it's master level clerics, but you throw it at the wall, and out comes some XP that you can get. But that's just one other way that you can gather XP. So when you first go to enchant something, you may notice that the numbers on, like I said, you may notice that the numbers on the side are pretty low. When you actually enchant your item, it will either cost you 1, 2, or 3 of the enchantment levels that you see. So right now, I am at 35. So if I take the top level enchantment it would cost me 3 experience levels, bringing me down to 32, and also 3 lapis lazuli. One of the other things that's important, the maximum level you can get is 30 levels, 30 level 30 enchantments. And you can do that by placing bookshelves into this area. Now, the reason you will notice there is space in between is that when we layer bookshelves in, there must be one block of air between the bookshelves and the enchantment table. It takes 15 bookshelves to get the full 30 levels. So I will be right back, but I'm going to take a moment and go ahead and put in our bookshelves. There we go. So that is all 15 bookshelves placed in. And as you can see, with the 15, you have that one extra space. So just because I think it looks better, we're going to place one more right there. And I'm sorry, just visually, that looks so much nicer. Now, there are a ton of enchantments, and the game will automatically select ones that will work with the tool or item you're enchanting. So there's no need to worry about getting a Luck of the Sea pickaxe or anything like that. And there are also a few enchantments that you cannot get from the table. For example, infinity for bows, which means if you have one arrow you only need one arrow in your inventory to be able to fire an infinite amount of arrows, or Frostwalker for boots, which freezes water on contact, or Mending for repairing tools and armor. There are a lot more enchantments that I could cover, but I think to save time, what I'll do is I will leave a link in the description below to the Minecraft Wiki article on enchanting and enchantments. And then you can use that as a reference when you're selecting the enchantments that you want. As we go through the series, I will probably talk about the ones that we get, but to be honest, going over all the enchantments that are available in this game could be a series of its own. But now that we have everything put in and we have covered the basic mechanics, let's try and see if we can enchant our first item. And I think we're going to go ahead and take a look at our diamond pickaxe. Now, earlier, before we put the enchantments, the bookshelves in, we had 3 different variants of unbreaking, which reduces the chances that your tool will lose durability when used. However, now that we've put the bookshelves in, we place it in, you'll see we now have up to level 30, and oh, hello! And right off the bat, I know I want this because when you place the tool in, you will still see this, but you'll, oh, that's not good. Oh. So, sorry, I feel a little torn here because when you place an item in, I personally prefer to put the item in the input slot and then check out what you get. If you hover your cursor over the button, it will show you a preview of the first enchantment available to it. So, for example, right now we could get Unbreaking, we could get Silk Touch, which if you mine a block, you get that block. It's needed for things like ice or other things that you will break if you don't have that enchantment. It will also, if you would mine a grass block, you will get a grass block instead of getting dirt. You can also mine diamond ore and bring it home. But then again, we also have Fortune 3. And you see, the reason I'm torn for a moment is the fact that Fortune 3 increases the drop rate on ores when mined. So I think what I'm going to do, and this may sound a little counterintuitive, but bear with me here. What we're going to do is um, we're going to go ahead and let's grab our lapis. And I think just to keep things quiet, I'm going to take a quick nap. Be right back. There we go. Cut down on the mob noise. Okay, so we grabbed our lapis. And I think because Silk Touch is a very, very valuable enchantment, I am going to go ahead and grab that. So when you place your lapis, and you'll notice that all 3 of the buttons now light up. And now you can choose each one. Now, once you get into the higher levels, you have to remember that you will also, there's also the possibility that you will get multiple enchantments on a tool. It's not guaranteed, but you still may get more than one. So also, if you are playing on mobile, this preview will be written on the button itself. So it's always recommended to just check each one of them out. But I'm going to go ahead and grab Silk Touch on my pickaxe, and oh, I pushed the wrong thing. All right, Silk Touch, here we come. We lost 2 lapis, and as soon as we come out, and what did we get? We just got Silk Touch. I can live with that. And the reason for that is the fact that you can add other things to a tool later. But Silk Touch is great. For example, if you have a bookshelf, if you break this, the books will go. If you actually mine this with the pickaxe, it would the bookshelf would stay intact. However, I will say that I'm not going to do that at this moment because that's not good for the tool. Now, one of the things to remember is that different materials have different odds of getting a high level enchantments and also different enchantments in general. For example, leather and stone are enchantable, but they also have the lowest probability of getting a decent enchantment, which makes them a good option if you want to refresh the table for something better. More on that in a moment. Gold has the highest probability of high level enchantments. For example, you notice there was Fortune 3 there. That was with diamond. And I crafted up a golden armor. Actually, just for an example, let's grab an iron chest plate and a gold chest plate. So iron's pretty run of the mill. You'll notice we have blast protection 4, projectile protection. But if you place a gold one in there, you have different enchantments that are available. So you may want to try different things out. Now, gold uh, has a higher probability of high level enchantments, but it also has super low durability, which is why most people avoid it. That may change with another update, though, because of the fact that the piglins, the new mob, are going to be neutral to characters that are players that are wearing gold armor. So that may be a reason to make an enchant using that material. Now, if you go to enchant an item, and let's take our sword, because you cannot double enchant an item. You'll notice if you place an enchanted item in the enchanted table, nothing happens. But if you take an item and you place it in, and you don't like any of the, oh no, just no. You don't like anything there. Knockback 1, no, I don't like knockback. Bane of Arthropods, it's effective against spiders, and that's about it. If you don't like anything, you can also refresh the table by using enchanting either a book or a junk tool. For example, as I said, stone is totally available, and notice that some of these same enchantments are there, but you could take the cheapest enchantment, put it on that, and then that will change the what is available. You can also take a book, and let's drop a book in there, and then you can take a book. Ooh, actually, Aqua Affinity 1, that's a very useful enchantment. We're going to go ahead and grab that because we can put it on something later. And grab that. All right. So we'll see. Aqua Affinity 1, that allows you to mine at the same speed underwater as you do above water. But so always check what 3 options are available when you go to do this with a book, because sometimes you can get some pretty good stuff. Once you do that, let's go ahead and take our sword back out. You'll notice that the enchantments have changed. Now, we seem to have gone from bad to worse because I personally don't like knockback. That increases the amount of distance an enemy is knocked back when you hit them. But we could just keep refreshing the table until we find something we want. Now, one of the other things you may want to have on hand is, as of the Village and Pillage update, you may want to consider having a grindstone available at your enchanting setup. Let's go ahead and just drop that down there. The grindstone basically is used to disenchant items. So if we wanted to, we could take this this book and place it in there. Actually, grab this out of here. Here, we'll grab that. One of the things you do get with fishing is sometimes you will get enchanted fishing rods and bows. That's how I got the enchanted fishing rod I'm using now. But you can also take enchanted items, you can place them in there. See, this has these Luck of the Sea 2 and Lure 2, but if we take this out, you get a little of that XP back. And you can do that with the junk tools as well, just to continuously refresh your table until you get the tools that you want. One other method that you have for adding enchantments to tools is to use an anvil. Now, the most common thing you will use an anvil for is to add books to a an item. And if you start finding books with high-level enchantments on them, you also may want to keep a list of them because, for example, one of the things that happened to me after we got back from our last mining session, and also a reason that I went with Silk Touch is I remembered after we got back that I had been fishing and I had pulled up a Fortune 3 book early on in the game, and I was super excited. But then I realized that we could have gotten so many more diamonds from what we had. So I know the devs talked about putting emotes into Bedrock sometime in the future. When that happened, I wouldn't have minded having them in the game, because it would be really nice to have been able to facepalm in Minecraft at that moment. But anyway, an anvil is made from 3 blocks of iron and 4 iron ingots, which makes it relatively expensive, but it is a good investment in the long run. So to use the anvil, let's go ahead and place this right under our grindstone. To use your anvil, when you click on it, you have 2 slots for input. So this will be to add something to something, and then you have your output slot. So for example, if you wanted to add, let's see, we have our Aqua Affinity book. If we wanted to add that to a tool, you could put those in there. Actually, you know what? We have ourselves a Sharpness 5, Looting 3 sword. Let's try something really quick. We're level 31, and we're going to take 2 diamonds, 2, and I have a couple of sticks, which is all I need to make my first diamond sword. So, and I still have the lapis. Yes, good. Okay, let's see what we get for that. And so we place that in, and oh, that's right. All right. Now let's see what we get in a book. Sharpness friction, feather falling. Oh, that's useful for boots. Oh, but if I do that, okay, folks. I don't want knockback 2, but I really would like unbreaking. Now let's see what happens. Oops. Protection 1, sharpness 1, and feather falling. I don't want sharpness 1. All right, let's go for it. Oh my goodness. Okay, it would appear that an old bug has resurfaced. There was a point in time where we had the problem that a lot of enchanted books had multiple enchantments placed on them when you got them, and yeah, that makes them super expensive to use in an enchanting table. I mean, in an anvil. So well, let's take a look. Put that down there. And what do we have here now? Fire aspect, looting, and looting 3. Ah, what? No. Guys, can I just get a break? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. So when you take an item, let's take our sword, and you want to place a book on it. You will see the cost of the enchantment here. So this will cost us 10 10 levels to enchant the sword, and it will give us both of those attributes placed on the sword. I'm going to hold off on that for now because I would really like to have Unbreaking as well because it will cut down on the durability for that sword. I think between episodes, I'm going to wind up doing some grind work for that. But one thing I know that we can do, let's just go ahead and pull our helmet, and we don't have enough diamonds to really go into aqua affinity, respiration. Ooh, respiration 2. Let's go ahead and wait. What are we at? We're at 28. Oh, decisions. Okay, folks. Sorry about that. I needed to take a minute and just kind of think things through because this enchanting session did not go at all like I had planned. But all the same, um, the anvil is a very useful item because I don't want to try and put any of the books that I have on the tools that I have because I sincerely want to be able to get some of the enchantments like unbreaking on my tools before I add some of the higher levels like looting 3 and uh, the fortune 3 because it's no good having a tool if you use it only to have it break after a short bit of usage. But before we call it a day, one of the things that anvils are very useful for is for naming things. Now, for one, I like to do this with tools. Uh, for example, this I will do tonight. You can take a tool and you can give it a name. You'll notice it says diamond pickaxe, and what you can do is you can place it in there. It'll cost you 1 enchantment level every time you do this, but I will, generally speaking, give my tool. Whoops, if I can spell. Preserver. I will generally give my tool a name based on its attribute. For example, this is my Silk Touch, and I like to do that for a couple of reasons. One, it makes them easier to identify for what they're used for, but the other thing being the fact that, at least in Bedrock, when you pull them up, and I know that in Java, if you pull it up, the name will show up at the bottom of your screen. That makes it easier to identify a tool if you're going to use it for a specific task. Now, another thing that you can uh, name are mobs, and just for fun, because while I was fishing, I also got a few name tags. Name tags are items that you can use to name a mob in the game, but you have to have an anvil. So let's go over here, and since we have one, we're going to go ahead and give Patches her name. So now this name tag is identified as Patches, and as soon as we come over, oh Patches! So once you do that, once you have it the name placed on it, you can simply come over and Patches, I'd like to welcome you officially into our family. And now the name will appear on the mob anytime that you have your crosshairs on them. There is an amount of distance that's required for you to see it, but all the same, it's a fun thing to do and adds to the immersion for the game. And one other advantage to naming a mob is they never despawn, which can be also very useful for certain farms that involve using hostile mobs. Though enchanting may take time to use effectively, it can add a lot of options to your Minecraft experience. In the end, however, you as the player will need to decide what enchantments you want to go for and what enchantments you just personally don't like. For today, however, I need to call it a day and keep grinding for levels. It may take a little bit of time to get all the things we need for another adventure, and I think for the next episode or two, we're going to stick close to home and look at a few of the more domestic aspects of the game. because I've noticed that things are looking a touch caveman around here. And though I'm not the most artistic person in the world, I think that we could do with a little more color and texture. So brace yourselves, because next time I am going to try my hand at decorating. Insert nervous laugh here. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and also consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. My name is Glitch, and I do hope I'll see you next time on the next episode of Deja Vu Survival. Thanks for watching.